The names you choose at 10. The drawer is already open when she comes in. The iPod is at the back of it, under a school ruler and a dead pen, in the room she once shared with her twin brother Yusuf. It still needs a firm thumb to wake it up. Hawa presses the button on top once, then holds it for longer. For a second, nothing happens. The red battery sliver blinks on the screen. Hawa is looking for documents. Instead, she finds a childhood relic and its cable in the same drawer, coiled in the way he coiled things. She plugs in the iPod. Then, a faint, familiar glow pushes through the scratched glass. The bitten Apple logo blooms onto the screen, followed by the old lock screen of a sunset from a picnic. The twins shared the iPod Touch growing up, and it became a joint collector of memories from their youth. It's almost unbelievable how small it is in her hand, and the weight of the cold metal pulls Hawa back in time. To a room of purple and sun, wired headphones that would take hours to untangle, and drawings on the wall. She opens her eyes and looks around. Half the shelves have been cleared, half haven't. There's a cardboard box on the bottom bunk with somebody else's handwriting down the side. A pulsing humming from the family congregation downstairs carries its way to the silent upstairs of their family home. There are too many shoes in the hall. Somebody has boiled the kettle. Nobody is pouring it. She opens the sunflower gallery icon and scrolls back. 20 years go past under her thumb. The naming ceremony. I knew it was filmed. The screen turns to noise and movement, filling the room. The first thing the old camera saw was the car ceiling. The afternoon sun flickered in and out as they drove through the city. Then a bit of someone's finger came into the frame. That's Mother's hand, yes. Grandma was driving us. Yusuf's small hands appeared, dragging the iPod down. He was playing with their sleepy brother, teasing him with his dummy. But the iPod stole his attention. The frames settled somewhat steadily on the brother-sister duo, pressed shoulder to shoulder in the backseat of the car. Yusuf squashed alongside their baby brother's car seat, and Hawa comfortably against the window. Is it recording now? Yusuf said. It's been rolling for a while, their mother replied calmly. Stop making funny faces, Yusuf. Hawa, don't encourage him. Stop looking at the camera, be serious, Hawa said, looking at her brother as she shifted her posture. I'm not looking at it, he said blankly, looking directly at it. R2, honestly, I worry about you sometimes. You sound like Mother. I don't need another mum, thanks. Yusuf, Hawa? Immediately, both of them sat up straight. Hearing that now still sends shivers down my spine. I want to capture this moment for you. It's a big day. The cracked window let in a mixture of car horns, traffic crossing signals, and birdsong. The usual sound of school children chatting to their friends and parents was absent today, as they were being picked up early. Are you nervous? Hawa whispered. He hesitated. A bit. Me too, she said, nodding slowly. They looked forward, the camera forgotten for a moment, the blur of the road ahead of them. Grandma's soothing voice replaced the silence. Your great-grandfather decided, before any of you existed, that his sons would carry the names of prophets, and his daughters the names of the women of prophetic households. He never called it a tradition. He just did it, and then his brothers did. Then everybody did. The iPod swung to Grandma, driving, calm. Because of Talha, who inspired him, Yusuf said. Because of Talha, indeed. And the middle name's Zubair, Hawa said. And if the two of you finish another sentence of mine, I am turning this car around. Grandma's laugh lines appeared like ripples in a river across her face. I really miss her smile. May God have mercy on her soul. Zubair named his children after the fallen of the companions. He used to tease Talha about it, saying, at least my children can grow up to be who they're named after. Nobody's growing up to be a prophet. She indicated, checking her mirror before she turned. Your great-grandfather liked both. So, a prophet's name given to you, a companion's name chosen by you. At 10, when the prayer stops being your mother's job and starts being yours. And you have to say why, said Yusuf. He had a line about it, Grandma said. He said it so often that if we don't tie them to something higher, Yusuf recited, doing an old man's voice, the world is waiting to tie them to something lower. Don't do the voice. And what did I say about interrupting me? Sorry. Their baby brother stirred in his car seat, brief crying breaking his slumber, before being soothed back to sleep by Hawa, reaching over to him in the back. Your grandfather will write them in the book tonight, Grandma said, in ink. So mean it. Crickets trilled and chirped in the summer grass, and the sounds of other cars subsided as Grandma's car neared her more rural suburb. Mom, why did you choose Sumaya then? The iPod swung to the back seat. Well, Yusuf, I was inspired by the bravery of the companion Sumaya. I read her story when I was about your age, and I felt about 9 things at once, and couldn't name a single one of them. I thought if I took the name, I'd understand them one day. She was quiet for a moment. I was getting there, too, and then I had the pair of you, and I was back at the beginning. Mother's laugh hasn't changed one bit. Hawa knew this story. Yusuf was squinting. She was Ammar's mother, Hawa said. Ammar, son of Yasir. Yusuf's eyes widened, and he nodded and pressed his lips together to show he was following. She died the way she died, their mother said, and she was somebody's mother. But that's enough about me. Are you both going to tell us now? Or are we all finding out the same time as your grandfather and the rest of the family? The twins looked at each other, returning their eyes to their mother, and then looked at each other again for longer. Somewhere in that interaction, they had an entire conversation and had agreed to let their mother and grandmother into their private choices. Sometimes it really does feel like we're completely in sync. Well, ladies first. Is that chivalry, or are you buying time? She punched her brother's arm, softly. I'll assume the best. Hawa wound the window down further and put her face near the gap. Asma, daughter of Abu Bakr. A noise of approval came from the front of the car. Because? Hawa opened her mouth and found she did not have the sentence ready. Because our dad told us her story, she said. I cried. Yusuf smirked. You cried for ages. I did not. You cried at dinner. You cried the next day. I was 8. Grandma laughed, and then told Yusuf off for laughing. Hawa cleared her throat. She was somebody's daughter, and somebody's older sister, and somebody's mother. and she was braver than everyone. She looked out of the window. I want to be like her, that's all. Somebody's older sister. Hey, I'll have you know that we're the same age. His defensiveness only made Hawa's grin grow. You're not my only sibling, Yusuf. Now, twins, calm it. Yusuf, why don't you tell us what name you've chosen? Silence settled in the car. Yusuf sat up. He closed his eyes and breathed out slowly from the stomach. Abdullah. Which one? Said Hawa. There are 100. I know, that's the problem. He counted on his fingers. The son of Umar, the son of Amr, the son of Abbas, the son of Zubair. Even Abu Bakr's real name was Abdullah. Always the indecisive one. He ignored his sister. I want to be like Abdullah, the son of Zubair. You just chose him because he was good with a sword. That is not why. It's definitely why. Yusuf looked out of the window. Everyone left him. At the end, all his men left him alone. His fingers tapped against his baby brother's car seat, gently so as to not wake him. And he still went out. He shrugged. I don't know. I just really love him. The road hummed beneath the tires. Hawa Asma. Yusuf Abdullah. The tears were audible in their mother's voice. She didn't say anything else for a while. Well, I'm very glad that's recorded. A tone shifted. I also hope that you've got your bickering out of your system now. Both of you. The voice rose. I expect impeccable behavior in front of the family, especially when grandfather inks your names onto the family tree. The twins nodded and, despite the stress of pulling into the drive, smiled. Hawa Asma hears the floorboards creak on the stairs. Calm footsteps approach the room, and a delicate knock on the half-open door reveals her younger brother's hand. Arwa, come and get her. He walks in with a restrained smile and a cup of tea. Hey, Asma, I knew I'd find you here. He places his cup on the old desk and hugs her for a while. You escaped too, then? The tea was a good excuse to get away. She sets the iPod, still on charge, next to the tea. Urwa tilts the screen toward himself. The old car, he says. That's me in the car seat. He swipes to the next video. There they were, 2 10-year-olds, grinning with all their teeth, as they sat on the floor beneath their father and grandfather. The naming ceremony. Wow, I haven't seen this in years. I haven't got that far. I only just finished the car video. Would you like to watch it together? Or go downstairs? I don't really fancy either. I came up here for some documents. For Abdullah. The name hovers in the room. What are they talking about down there? There's a discussion going on downstairs. It was too much for me. There's no benefit in repeating it. Arwa. He looks at her. I found our old room half in boxes. I can handle a sentence. And it's just as hard for you. You don't have to carry it alone either. He sighs. If you insist, it's heavy. Urwa walks over to the open window, cracking the curtain to let in a stream of light, visible via the illuminated sliver of dust that swirls between the parting. He lets out another sigh before inhaling with closed eyes. They are debating whether there should be a funeral prayer at all, whether the circumstances of his death mean it isn't necessary. She says nothing. And if there should be, whether a prayer in absentia is even permitted. When there's no... He sobs. The two siblings stand in the near silence as shadows of the discussion downstairs leak through the floorboards below their feet. They sit on the bottom bunk, hunching, looking at the glow-in-the-dark stars still stuck to the ceiling above the top bed. His bed. Arwa wraps his arms around his sister and buries his face in her shoulder. Her tears find the back of his hair. He feels the words through her shoulder before he hears them. I sat with Yusuf on this same bed just last week. She wipes under her eyes with both hands. He told me about the A trip. He was so torn. He didn't want to abandon us. That's the word he used, abandon. But he couldn't sit here while an already poor country was pulled into a war nobody could see the end of. I had no idea. He always seemed so certain. He wasn't, and he only consulted me. I told him they'd need his medical expertise. I knew that if he didn't go, it would kill him inside. He would have stayed for other people, muting his sense of justice in the process. I as good as packed his bags. You didn't. I know what I did. But now he's gone. He's gone, and I'm the one who told him to leave. Arwa lifts his head. Her hands cover her face, the guilt swallowing the grief. He pulls her in this time, her head on his chest, and he searches for something, anything that might reach her. His eyes land on the charging iPod on the desk, the screen still glowing. Two children, paused mid-laugh. Can I tell you something I read? She doesn't speak, but she squeezes his hand. Asma, do you know who the mother of Abdullah, son of Zubair, was? I'm not sure. I don't... No, I do know. Yusuf joked about it once, that I act like his mother anyway, and my Asma was his Abdullah's mother, so it fit. I'd forgotten about that until just now. Yes, your Asma, daughter of Abu Bakr. Urwa speaks slowly, the way his father tells stories. At the end of her life, Asma was blind and 100 years old, and her son, Abdullah, son of Zubair, was 73. He was besieged in Mecca by a tyrant. Nearly all the companions were gone by then. His own men had left him. He knew what was coming. So, he went to his mother. His younger brother went with him, Urwa, son of Zubair. Abdullah told his mother Asma that he didn't fear dying, but he feared what they'd do to his body afterwards. And she told him a slaughtered sheep feels nothing when it's skinned. That he was a soul. He was a soul and not a body. She said she would grieve for him only if he died for nothing. And his face lit up. She pulled him close to smell him, to hug him one last time. And then she told her son to take off his armor and go out to meet his destiny. And he did just that, after kissing her hands and feet. Hawa Asma is quiet for some time. The story unfolds behind her eyes. She had heard it before. Their father told it to the twins when they were in their early teens. It was what started the joke. Yusuf grinned at her across the kitchen. You chose my Abdullah's mum. She'd been halfway through her homework. He'd been eating the food she'd set aside for herself in the fridge. She had forgotten all of it until now. Asma told her son Abdullah not to surrender what was right, and he didn't. And I told my Abdullah not to mute his sense of justice, and he didn't. And the son of Zubair kissed his mother's hands and her feet. And Yusuf Abdullah kissed my forehead after his bear hug. I keep thinking that if I'd said something different, he'd still be here. Urwa looked at his sister's face, uncovered now. She continues. But Asma, may Allah be pleased with her, didn't say something different. She could have. She was his mother. She was blind and 100 years old, and she could have said, stay, surrender. It isn't worth it. We need you here. No one on earth would have blamed her, but she didn't. She said she'd only grieve if he died for nothing. He didn't die for nothing. Neither did our brother. Asma takes a long breath through pursed lips. She looks at her little brother for a while. The pain isn't going anywhere, not for any of us. But the anger at myself, I don't know if it's gone, but it's quieter. She almost smiles. Thank you, Arwa. I did nothing, truly. Arwa opens his palms, facing them skyward. Asma follows. May the Merciful One keep watching over us with care and tenderness, and may we keep noticing. Ameen, they say together. Hey, let's go to your room. I want to watch the ceremony with you. She looks around at the boxes, the half-cleared shelves. Not in here, not yet. Arwa nods, stands and takes his sister's hand. With her free hand, she unplugs the iPod. The metal is warm now after charging. On the screen, paused, 10-year-old Yusuf, grinning, about to announce his name to the world.